Hi, Aaron Kirkwood, marriage and family therapist with Counseling Associates for Wellbeing in Athens, Georgia, here again. Thanks for joining me today. Thought I'd take this opportunity to talk a little bit about romantic love and long term relationships and marriages as we are coming up on Valentine's Day in just a few days here. Um, you know, when you're first in a relationship, you're getting to know that person, you're asking questions, you're engaging in conversation, you're going out, you're doing things, you're wanting to find out everything about that person, what makes them tick, what they like, what they don't like. And I think after a while that dies off, right? Life happens. We just become accustomed. We assume we know about the person, or other things get in the way. We just don't devote ourselves as wholly as we do at the beginning to getting to know that other person, right? We have kids, we have jobs, and these things take precedent over our relationship. And so when we think about romance in a long-term relationship, I would say it would help to have a conversation with your partner. Understand what romance looks like to you, right? Don't listen to what the experts, right, have to say about what is and what isn't romance, because ultimately at the end of the day, you'll decide. And you may have a different idea than your partner, and that's okay. But having a conversation about it. First of all, if you notice there's a lack of romance, discuss it. Not in a blaming way, not in a hurtful way, but just let that other person know that you'd like to feel the way that you did maybe early on, and you don't feel that. And you're not assigning blame. You're not saying it's one person's fault or the other. But what you're doing is saying, how can we work together to get that back? Some ideas that might be helpful. Again, having a conversation, absolutely, very helpful. Trying to, can you put yourself back in that mode, which would be kind of hard, might seem kind of funny, with somebody that you've been for years and years and years in a relationship with, to ask those kind of questions about what makes them tick, what they like and what they don't like. But the other thing is, that you used to do a long time ago, if you can remember back that far when you were first in a relationship, you'd go on dates, right? You'd take time. And what did that look like? Usually, I would imagine for most people, a date looks like you and one other person, your partner, whoever you're dating, going somewhere, doing something together, maybe not even going somewhere, but being together, just the two of you, right? If you were dating someone in college and you had a roommate, you didn't say, oh, we're going on a date, here, let me bring my roommate. Maybe you did, but I think most people, it's probably about that connection, just the two of you. So, and that's one of the things that gets lost, I think, when we're in a long-term relationship, particularly if we have children. You don't get that time. You don't make that time. You don't put a priority on getting that time to spend just you and your spouse. And I think for a lot of couples, when they do get that time, they spend that time doing business-like tasks, right? They talk about the bills. They talk about the problems that the children are having, et cetera, et cetera. Again, even though they may be taking the time, just the two of them, they're not focusing on romance. They're not focusing on intimacy. They're not focusing on building their relationship. So a recommendation might be to take some time, just the two of you. You might have to get creative on what that looks like. And, it may be going out on a date. It may be dropping the kids off at a friend's or neighbor's house for just an hour where you just get a little bit of time alone. Maybe you have a babysitter at your house and you borrow a friend's house to while they're out to cook a meal and sit down and eat together in silence. And there's something to be said about some novelty, so being in another place. But yeah, take time to focus on you, on your relationship. Make it a priority. And when you do that, I think your partner sees that you're making it a priority. But also be willing to listen about what they need and what they are interested in, what they think of as romantic. Because one person's idea of what's romantic, maybe let's take a canoe out on the lake and catch some fish, right? One person might find that extremely romantic. The other person might say, ugh, why would I do that? So it may be trading off. It may be saying, okay, I'll go out on the canoe and go fishing with you if you come to me to an art show, right? That's romantic to me. It may just be sitting on the couch watching Netflix together, holding hands. But I would take time, focus on you, get to know what that person thinks is romantic. And I didn't mention the word yet, but sex may or may not be an important part of what your partner finds romantic. And a lot of times, for couples in a long-term relationship, sex can really get tied up with a lot of other aspects of your life. When there are resentments for a partner not keeping their word, saying that they're going to, not use a credit card, or they're going to help out with doing the dishes every night, and then that doesn't get done, and it leads to resentment, and that puts a hamper on your sex life. And then, sort of as these things tend to go, a cyclical nature, the person who is feeling more desirous maybe of sex, and not getting what they feel like they need, or however they would phrase it, they think, well, why am I going to help? Why would I keep my word if I'm not getting what I need out of the relationship, right? So you have to get off that merry-go-round. You have to get off of that revolving door, as I like to call it, of back and forth, tit for tat, and start saying, what can we do together to bring the romance back into our relationship, whatever that looks like. If it looks like sex, if it looks like just spending time together, if it looks like going on dates, if it looks like making a mixtape for the other person, or buying them chocolate, or playing a board game together, whatever it looks like, you all know, right? You know what feels good for you in that department in terms of romance. So yeah, discuss that with your partner. And if you're somebody who enjoys Valentine's Day and likes to celebrate that, hopefully you get to do that, and it's good. If you're one of those people on the other end of the spectrum that can't stand it and think it's a ridiculous holiday, then maybe you'll pick another day. If you have any questions or comments, leave those below. I'll have some contact information as well in the description of the video, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Take care.